Hello, welcome back to my channel. Jacob Payton here, and I'm going to be talking about Cursed Be the Child by Mort Castle. This is a Paperbacks from Hell book. I do believe it's actually in, or the cover I do believe is in Paperbacks from Hell. I could be completely wrong on that. There's a lot going on in this book, to say the least. If you've read it, you obviously know what I'm talking about. But yes, the past, ... Her innocence betrayed, her body battered, her life destroyed. 5-year-old Lizette lay dying. But hers was a will of uncommon strength for one so young. And even as she slipped into unconsciousness, she vowed revenge on a cruel world, even if she had to wait for an eternity. The present, ... 5-year-old Melissa loved her family's new home, especially the big basement to play in. And her new friend Lizette. Missy's parents said Lizette was imaginary, but Missy knew that she was very real. Missy could see and hear and talk to her, but Lizette made Missy do scary things, dirty things she didn't want to do. And when Missy told her to leave, Lizette wouldn't go away. Lizette had waited years for a child whose soul she could steal, and now nothing, not even death, could stand in her way. So, I don't even know where to jump into. This is one of the stranger books I've read in the Paperbacks from Hell line. I have not read Mort Castle before. This is my first Mort Castle book I've read. A lot of like the Paperbacks from Hell, at least the ones I've read, you know, a lot of Guy and Smith, a lot of stuff like this, like that. And while there are some endings that are dark, this one was especially bleak. I guess trigger warning, if any sort of child sexual assault or anything like that you don't want to read about, do not pick this book up. That is what this book is basically centered around. Lizette was a 5-year-old. Some very bad things happened to her. When she died, she haunted the house and now is taking over the body of Missy. And because of that, Missy is acting out in ways obviously a 5-year-old shouldn't. And there's a lot more to this. There's a woman who's introduced into this book who's like Roma, who understands that like a bad spirit is hanging on to Missy and is gonna somehow like stop it. And then there's also like a priest guy, or I think he's like an evangelistic preacher or something that's gonna help. But all of them get thwarted because at the end of the day, Missy's dad, who is a writer, turns out to be a pedophile and can't say no to Lizette's spirit. So it has it's a very dark book in that way. Cursed Be the Child and Cursed Be the Reader on that one, because I did not see that coming, and that really disappointed me. Because the whole time, obviously, you're rooting for a big win, and then you have a guy that ends up doing some very bad stuff with his possessed daughter. Anyway, there's a lot going on in this book. There's more to it, obviously, that I'm not fully covering in this, because I don't want to give away all the spoilers. I did give away some major ones. There are some interesting subplots. It kind of made me wonder somewhere through, like, if this book was maybe going to be longer, because they do introduce a lot of characters. And it kind of does read, at least early on, very much almost like an Exorcist book, where, you know, it's kind of gearing up for this spiritual battle between the dark, basically almost demonic spirit of Lizette at this point, and all these people that are kind of being brought together to challenge it. And I thought that was a lot of fun, and that could have been a very interesting showdown. We don't quite get it in the way that I was hoping we were going to, but yeah, Mort Castle can definitely write a what's a good word? Thrilling novel, I guess, because you do read, I was hung on the pages. I mean, I couldn't put this book down to the end, even though I didn't like the subject matter. I guess in a lot of ways, it's almost kind of like Jack Ketchum's, Girl Next Door, right? That is a hard movie to watch. I can only imagine. I haven't tried to read the book. I watched the movie and I was like, that's enough for me. because that is a very like real evil, and that is, that's something that happens in our world. We read about that all the time, and that is terrifying. And to read it through characters' experiences is even worse. So yeah, there's real evil in this book alongside the evil that is the spirit of Lizette. And I mean, as much as I hated the subject matter, it was good. I can't obviously recommend everyone read it because of the subject matter, but at the same time, if you're looking for a kind of like, I don't want to say spiritual, but I guess, yeah, spiritual horror novel where, people battle a demonic force. It also has the really like, I don't even want to say 80s trope, but it is that kind of like overdone horror trope that I thought that seems to be mostly in books that were written in the late 70s and 80s, where like one of the characters or the main character is like a horror writer or a writer. So I thought that was kind of fun because that kind of gives you like the Stephen King vibe, because a lot of Stephen King's characters, like in Salem's Lot, are horror writers or, writers in general. I think Graham Masterson's done the same thing. I'm 100% sure Dean Koontz has at some point. So like it was a kind of a trope, and I thought that was kind of fun. But yeah, there is a lot going on in this, and apparently Mort Castle has another book called Strangers as well, but I have not read that one, so I don't know what that's about, but I will probably pick it up because, like I said, this was a well-written book, even though I didn't like the subject matter. And it kept me interested all the way to the end. So if you're looking for a horror book or a good fun paperback from Hell book, and you don't mind the super dark subject matter, then, pick this up. But, don't say I didn't warn you. And yeah, if you've read it, if you liked it, let me know in the comments below. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments below. And if you've read Strangers or any other Mort Castle books, let me know in the comments below, because I definitely wouldn't mind reading more of his books. And as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.